Hendricks and Waldo, but these are games that you've lost earlier in this year, where it's been close down the stretch and other teams have made the plays. Even the last one, but just good time was you guys making the free throws, making defensive plays. What was different this afternoon?
I would say, I mean, you kind of learn from a lot too, though. Sometimes even in defeat, you look at what caused those things, and you try to get better at them. And I thought today our guys just did a better job at trying to remedy, some of our shortcomings, especially down the stretch. But even to be in that position, I thought it was a good team effort. At the end of the day, and it kind of went back and forth a little bit. Probably wasn't Thompson's best night. Obviously with the way he's been playing. But Jake did not shoot it well in the first half, and then he found a rhythm in the second half. I thought Waldo was consistently steady. I thought TJ, came back and showed up after, not starting him and going with Mormon. But I just think sometimes just going through it, even though you may not come out on the right end of it, you work to get better at it.
It seems like, I know Mormon's not a scorer, but it seems like when he's in there, he creates a big difference for you guys.
I tell people all the time, even before he got back out on the floor, there's things that he does that does not show up on the stat sheet. And even watching him out there today, whether it be just that charge or the physical wall up or his communication in ball screen coverage, whether it's, holding long enough or switching when that happens, and then making plays around the rim, rebounding, block shots, you don't look at it and say, wow, he had a really good game. But to be honest with you, he had a really good game for us today.
His movement too, he moves so smooth and easy.
He just he makes winning plays. And sometimes as a young guy coming into this Division I, you don't often understand that right away. And it's just like, just even before he went down with the concussion protocol, it was, man, he was in the right position. He rotated, he rebounded, and then a more physical body, because their kids were pretty big tonight too.
Right.
And I thought he put his body in harm's way to physically challenge them. And I thought he just, gave us up. He had a great deflection in the second half, but like you said, he just does things that to the naked eye, if you look at his stat sheet, you would say, he just had he was really good for us today.
And Hendricks, he's a guy that you have to sometimes encourage him to keep shooting.
No, that's one thing you don't have to do. I think we just stayed the course with him because the looks that he got in the first half, they were open looks, and they just wasn't falling for him. But in the midst of practice and watching Jake, he goes through that sometimes in practice, and then sometimes you sit up there and say, man, this guy cannot miss. And what we tried to do was stay the course, and in the second half, just mix it up a little bit of how we was trying to get him his shots, and then not just consistently coming back at him, but just, a shot here, and then maybe 3 or 4 plays later, another shot. And I thought he did a good job in the second half of taking advantage of open looks and putting them in for us.
After the last game, I can't imagine anybody probably felt worse than Waldo after the way things went. And then at the end of this one, he makes that huge block at the end. He almost, I thought that 3 was going in. Just to kind of see him rebound like that, it was. I assume there was probably never really a question that he was going to kind of get over it.
He's a very mature kid, man. When you talk to him, you think you're talking to a 30-year-old. You're not talking to a college student. And even after the game, we talked about it. Actually, you know what? We didn't even talk about it because he was fine. And I addressed it more so with the team than I did with him. And what I said to the team, we did not lose that game because of that play. That play just gets magnified because of when it happened. We lost the game because of all these things that we saw on film that affected the outcome. But I don't think he's a kid that wallows. I think he's very self-confident in his abilities, and he's very self-confident in who he is as a person. So when you're dealing with that, you don't mind the bounce back. And the bounce back to play 45 minutes. So it ain't like I took him out either. So he bounced back and played 45 minutes.
AJ Banks' block. I thought his head was going to hit the backboard, and that seemed like that was about as explosive as it gets.
I think I was mad about the turnover though, that led to that. It was something that happened that led to that I was mad, but the block was pretty impressive. His lob dunk was pretty impressive. BP dunk was pretty impressive, but the block to me is, again, Coach Shot, Jeremy, is always saying, assume a miss, assume a miss. Even when a guy has a breakaway layup, you never just stop playing. So the fact that, most or a young kid would turn it over and feel bad about themselves. I thought he made a great athletic play, and that's who he is, a great athletic play. So he did a great job sprinting back and hit it off the glass, and then Maldo tried to dunk it, which...
He took off a little bit too soon.
Yeah. I tried to get the block inside the cylinder thing, but it was a good play. Again, we just kept fighting, just kept trying to put ourselves in position to win the basketball game.
I know you guys look at things in one game at a time and all that kind of stuff, but was there a sense of relief in just kind of getting one head, especially heading into a little break?
It was, and it makes Christmas a whole lot better, obviously. But, even our last one, we thought it was there too. Even the scenario with Maldo, again, that was probably the worst case scenario that could have happened at that point in time. But again, I probably credit, Maldo being a leader, that he did not let the group come back in and feel sorry for themselves. That we had to come back in and understand that work still has to happen. And we're going into a place on the road that we have not really had success in the sense of winning here. To be able to bounce back off of that and come in here and win it shows you a lot about those guys. Because I told them after the game, the year we had Larry Nance as a junior, Larry scored about 38 and we still couldn't win. And JJ's junior year, we came in here and they just outplayed us, and today, I thought our guys not only played well, but we withstood some things too, because they didn't give up. We had a couple 10-point leads that you thought at some point it was kind of getting away, and then they found a way to kind of cut it back. And then obviously it went into overtime. Yep. And then from there, again, I thought our guys, stayed the course and didn't get down, because I think that was a moment where your guys get down because they say, oh man, we should have. And then you start seeing the woe be attitude or the plays to where you're saying, oh man, they're just not there mentally now because of the setback in the sense of letting it get to overtime.